Kind of smells like Updog in here. Hey, look, it is Updog. And what do you know? He's standing in the Up House. Dang, that was a good video intro. Anyways, welcome back to another Minecraft video, everybody. My name's Kason Smith, and if this is your first time here, there's a few things we should probably get out of the way before we actually get into all the good stuff about this video. The first being, I do not script these videos. I record tons of content, then I go back and I scroll through it. I pick random parts that I want to put in, a few not so random parts that I want to put in. Then, while I'm putting the video together, I think about what I'm going to say during those parts, and then I come to record like 2 days later, and I completely forget what I was going to say, and I just try to do this entire recording session in one go. So with that said, I might have to take a few drink breaks where I drink some lemon lime Powerade so that my voice doesn't completely die. Anyways, here we are in the Nether. In my last video, I said that we would be doing a build involving Lightning McQueen. Now, originally, this video was going to be titled Building Radiator Springs in the Minecraft Nether, or something to that effect. Basically, I thought it would be cool to build Radiator Springs, which is in and of itself pretty cool. But then I thought, okay, let's up that. Let's do it in Minecraft Survival. But that's still not cool enough to get more than, 20 views in a video? So then I decided we're going to do it in the Nether, because that adds a whole new level, I guess, of just how cool the build is. And so, before I can actually really start building much of Radiator Springs, there are a few things I'd have to do. Obviously, I have to clear out a space in the Nether to, build the town, but then I also have to breed all of these villagers so that I can turn the villagers into zombie villagers. For those of you who don't know, there's what's called a level cap, not a level cap, a mob cap in the Nether. And so for every player that you have in the world, you have to have 70 hostile mobs in the Nether for no other mobs to spawn. So I actually already did this at the end of my last video. I didn't include it because I didn't want to put this part of the project in the last video, but I said I was working on this project already a little bit. Turns out I did it completely wrong though, because I name tagged all of the villagers. So I ended up having to kill like 80 or 90 zombie villagers that shouldn't have had to be killed. I just didn't know how to get that mob cap reached. It turns out if you put name tags on villagers, then they don't count towards the mob cap. So then I had to go back, redo it all. Basically, I would just work on the courthouse. That's what we're doing right now. I did follow a tutorial on YouTube for this courthouse. It was a pretty good tutorial. My two main problems with it were, one, the tutorial didn't tell me what blocks I would need at the beginning of the video, which isn't necessary. I mean, I knew I would need bricks, I knew I would need quartz, and I figured a few other things, I just wasn't sure what. I just didn't know how much of all of that I needed. And then the other problem, and I don't blame the guy in the video at all for this, but he said he didn't have pictures of the back of the courthouse. And so his build was a little inaccurate to what it actually is in the movie. The reason I know this is because there was a video game called Cars, the video game, where it was like this open world map of Radiator Springs. So I opened that up on Steam on my computer. I drove around taking a bunch of pictures of Radiator Springs so that I would have references of how to build this world. And so really the only differences in my build compared to his build is my build has 2 windows on the back of the courthouse, which he just didn't have pictures of the back of the courthouse. And let's be honest, none of you actually knew if there were windows back there or not, so it doesn't really matter. The biggest thing is his roof was a completely different color. I think he made his white. I made mine black because I'm 99% positive that it's actually black in the movie. And then I also did the inside of my courthouse. I went with the acacia planks because in the movie there's like this reddish kind of wooden floor, so I thought that this would match the best. And then after I got done, well, not completely done, but I had a lot of progress down the courthouse, I went back to this giant sand pit. Now, I can't even tell you just how much sand I'm going to have to get by the end of this video, because we need sand, one, for the sand, obviously, because Radiator Springs is in the desert. And then we also need sand for lots of concrete. The original way I figured I would get concrete is to pillar up all my concrete powder and then just mine down through it like I'm doing on screen right now. This was not the fastest way, but at the time it's the best way I knew of. And so I would need concrete. I would need yellow concrete for the road, which I think looks pretty good. I would also need some white concrete for the town and then some blue concrete as well. And I'll get into that later. There's just so much to talk about in this video, and like I said, this is completely unscripted, and so there will probably be parts where I just start going on random tangents about what's happening in my life rather than what's actually happening in this video. One thing that was good about the villagers is originally I was relying on my farms to feed the villagers, but then my sister was playing Minecraft on my Switch, and she told me that you can buy bread from villagers for emeralds, like you saw right there. And so, as you know, if you've seen my other videos, I basically have an unlimited supply of emeralds. I have to wait to get those emeralds, but I'll never be able to get too many emeralds that I can't keep up with the villager trades. And so this made it so I could get so much more bread. It made the breeding process so much faster. So once I actually had the villagers into the nether, I went ahead and brought a zombie into the nether to try and get him to infect the villagers. The main problem with this is that, well, there are a few problems with this actually. One of the problems was that if I was in the vicinity, then the zombies would target me and not the zombie villagers, or not the villagers. And then this is the second problem right here. As you can see, because the villagers are frightened and because there's so many villagers, it's going to spawn iron golems into the nether. This was a problem both, one, because I had to kill a few villagers, and so the iron golems weren't happy with me. And then the other problem is if there's an iron golem in there and a zombie overtakes a villager and turns it into a zombie villager, the iron golem will just go and kill that zombie villager who just got cured. And so I had to try this 2 or 3 times to actually get to the point where my villagers were turning into zombie villagers. Obviously, I eventually figured it out, but trust me, this was not a fun process. I went up and I kind of pillared over to this window so you could kind of see the process of what was going down. They just, slowly turned to zombie villagers. One other thing I wasn't aware of at this time is that depending on your game difficulty is the odds that a zombie, or the odds that a villager turns into a zombie villager. So at this point in time, my game was set to difficulty normal. And when the game is set to difficulty normal, there's only a 50% chance that a villager will turn into a zombie villager. So sometimes they'll be a zombie villager, but sometimes they'll just die, they'll disappear. And so I might have brought 70 villagers into the end thinking that I had enough villagers, but I didn't actually, because only half of them were getting turned into zombie villagers. One other thing I had to think about was the fact that there were still going to be mobs like zombie pigmen and hoglins until I killed them. Because if these guys spawned in before I reached the mob cap, then they would continue to remain there. And as you all know, I suck at Minecraft. I died very many times. This death was super annoying, not just because I died. It's a survival world now. I die, I go back, I get my stuff, no big problem. This was mostly a problem because, as you see, I had to kill 30 zombie pigmen with an axe, and one of them had all of my diamond gear. And there were just so many hiccups in the process of making this entire video. I completely underestimated just how long this entire thing was going to take to build. We're almost 10 minutes into the video and we're not even done with one single video or one single part of Radiator Springs yet. Once I had all of my zombie villagers, or at least most of the zombie villagers that I wanted, I decided that it would look good if I put them in jail cells in the back of the courthouse. Now, I don't know if there's actually jail cells in real life courthouses, but I feel like out of all of the buildings in Radiator Springs, the courthouse definitely would be one to have jail cells in. And so that's where I went ahead and put them. I did fall in one time and I died, so I think one of them got my armor or a sword or something. And then here's another part of the video that this is just constantly happening in the background from now until the end of the video. I have to clear out tons and tons of space so that I can make the landscape of the nether look like the desert that Radiator Springs is in. And then here's the other super exciting part. So earlier I told you that I needed yellow concrete and white concrete, but I also needed lots and lots of blue concrete. My idea behind this was that I could take this blue concrete and I could make an artificial sky. Now, this is a little bit darker of a blue than I originally wanted, and the reason for that is the colors on my computer are not the colors that you see on any other device. My computer is super old, it's super bad, and so when we made the Fletcher Dome, the purple floor did not look very good on my computer. It actually looked way better on other screens. However, when it came to this blue sort of sky, it's a little bit darker than I would like it to be, but I didn't realize until it was too late, and so I just decided to continue with the blue sky. one way that I would get the sky process to kind of get faster was to make a machine that would duplicate concrete for me. I don't know if this is considered a cheat or not. I've seen too many other people use it for me to feel like it's a cheat. Basically, what you have to do, you bone meal a red mushroom, which takes away the portal frames. And then once you have that, you build like this little redstone contraption that I'm not going to show the process of me building because it took forever because I was following the tutorial. And then you build this other machine that puts minecarts onto a rail, and then the minecarts go to the other side of the portal where they land in fire, so they instantly break. They come back through the portal, they land in a hopper, get sent back onto the rails, and it just like completes this cycle. I don't know exactly why this works. Like, I understand the basic mechanics. This is actually a very simple machine, but it's a chunk loader. So all I know is that for some reason or another, when I have this machine running, I can have my sand or my concrete powder duplication machine running, and I don't have to be standing in this room. I'll just continue to run even if I'm out of render distance. As you can see there, you just flip the lever, starts throwing. You can do it with sand, gravel, or concrete powder. And so I would just use it for sand and concrete powder because that's all I would really need for this video. And I mean, you gotta admit, this is kind of cool. If you're really into Minecraft videos, you've probably already seen other people do this before. But essentially, this makes an infinite supply of sand and whatever other concrete powders you want. And so after I did that, I also built this pretty cool contraption that would help me dig concrete or turn concrete powder into concrete much quicker. All you really needed for this is a stair, a sign, and a few blocks. I made it a little more complicated with putting a dropper and a hopper and a chest and a few other things I can't really remember, but it definitely helped. And then I don't know why I include this part of the video. This is my first attempt at blowing a hole in the roof of the Nether. Obviously, it did not work very well. I really wish I would have done a little more research because this should not have been hard. Like, by the end of this video, I've blown so many holes in the roof of the Nether, but I just couldn't get it right the first time I was doing it. Like, I go on to make 5 or 6 more holes, but none of them are deep enough, or none of them have how do I even explain this? Parts of the Nether roof are only one block, and so there's one block of bedrock, and then there's the like open void above it, or whatever you call that, and then there's just normal blocks below it. But I didn't find where one of those spots was, and so I wasn't able to break through. And the reason I was originally breaking through was so that I could put a beacon, because as you can see here, I'm laying tons and tons of blue concrete. Like, that's a ton. I don't know how much it is at this point, but it is so much. And the sad part is that's not even like close to finished. So you can really see just how big this project is. This project is probably about as big as all of my other big builds combined. However, because it's just mindlessly digging out nether and placing blues, concrete, and sand, the video is going to be like barely any longer than my other videos just because it's like the most boring process over and over and over again. I think I watched like 2 seasons of Naruto and the Lego Batman movie, Madagascar 2. I watched Venom 2. I watched so many movies. I listened to so many like crime documentaries, and I watched and listened to so many things while doing this. This took insane amounts of time. I'll show all of my statistics of like blocks broken and time played and deaths and all of that at the end of this video if you're interested in that. But this seriously took so long. And so I figured, because this is going to take way longer than I originally thought, there's really only 2 ways that I can fix this. And so the first one was to turn this world into a realm. So I went live on TikTok one day, and I said, hey, anybody who wants to join this world, come join the world. That guy on the screen right there was Kritzel. He's one of my first viewers of my TikTok lives, and he was the biggest help on this world by far. First hour on the server, we just went straight to the end, and we started looking for elytra because obviously he didn't have any. He just barely got on the server, and I didn't have any because I think I've lost 2 by now just from stupid deaths. And so one thing that would really help us kind of speed up the process of this video was getting elytra and extra elytra. The next part is letting my viewers, this is Alejandro by the way, letting my viewers build their own builds. Alejandro just got on. He made this little tree fort. It wasn't nothing much. We never saw Alejandro online again, at least as of the recording of the end of this video. Even so, it was like, yeah, it's a small project, but just little bits like that really add to the whole atmosphere of the world. And then Kritzel started building stuff right away. He wasn't really helping me with the nether build at the beginning. Like, I did majority of the nether by myself. But one thing Kritzel did do that was super helpful is he made a few automatic farms. So he made an iron farm, which was super good, as well as a tree farm, I believe. I can't remember what else he built, but there were a few farms that he built that were pretty useful. And then, I don't know, even though he wasn't like necessarily helping with the nether all of the time, it definitely like gave me more motivation just knowing someone else was online. Like, I would continue grinding, mining random blocks. This is me tearing down an entire bastion. It's kind of funny because you get an advancement for going to a bastion. And so if anybody comes online later on when the bastion is completely gone, they'll just like be walking through the desert and then get the achievement for going to a bastion, even though there's not a bastion in sight. Even though this video was originally going to be Radiator Springs, one last thing that I decided would make this much better is to add more builds in my home base. And so I followed a tutorial by a man named Courthouse, I believe. Super good tutorials. Once again, he doesn't tell you what materials you need at the beginning of the video, which I really don't like. By the way, my brother Branson, he fell into the zombie pit, and so he gave diamond armor to some zombies. Alright, I said I was not going to pause the video at any time, but I did just pause the video. Here's some exciting news. While I work on this little build that Cortez was showing me, so there I was, thinking that this video would be uploaded by July 3rd. It's currently July 3rd, and I'm recording this, so this will probably come out tomorrow. But I was sitting there on July 2nd, and I was about to go hang out with my sister and her friends, and then the back door opens, and my mom walks in with my sister, who they went like 30 minutes south for my sister's doctor appointment. But they're looking up, and my sister is smiling. By the way, this is the Enderman farm that Kritzel built. That's another farm he built. I forgot about that one. That one was super useful. Anyways, they walk in the back door, and my younger sister looks up, and she just starts smiling. I was like, who is here? Like, I could not think of anyone that should be smiling so much. And then in walks Miguel, my foreign exchange student. I don't actually know if I've mentioned him on the channel before, but he was our foreign exchange student like 2 years ago, and I didn't even know he was coming back from Bolivia, but he just walks in my back door. So we ended up like going to a trampoline park and hanging out. So that's why this video has taken even longer than I originally was gonna think it was gonna take. Anyways, back to what I'm doing right here. So the problem with Cortez Arena's videos, they're very few, but he does have two problems that I would like to fix. One is tell me what I need before I start doing the build. And then two, if you ever follow a tutorial by him and he says that you need stone blocks, 99% of the time you do not need those stone blocks. The stone blocks are just kind of like placeholders to help you keep track of where you are. So I had a Silk Touch pickaxe. It wasn't like a huge worry. But if you ever like follow a tutorial by him, you could just use cobblestone. You do not need stone. Just a heads up. I didn't want to show a ton of the parts where I'm digging out the nether, but I did think I'd show this part right here. Basically how I do it is I mine a huge strip from the sand layer up to the sky layer of what I want to remove. And then I just like start from the top and go down to the bottom. And this took hours, like literally hours. I already mentioned this. I watched so many movies, listened to so many YouTube videos, watched so many YouTube videos. Right here, I turned on my recording, one, to show you that I got the lunar client, which is super, super cool, actually. And then two, I thought I would record this. I'm like, this will probably take 10 minutes to record. I'll speed up the recording to 10 minutes or 10 times faster. It'll take a minute. I'll spend 1 minute wasting your guys' life talking about random garbage, and then you can see just how long this takes to dig out. This part ended up taking just over 44 minutes to dig out. I was like, okay, I cannot put that entire thing in there. I also didn't really like show how big this section is, so that's kind of my bad for not giving you guys a complete kind of like perspective of how big this is. But as you can see right here, I dug out that entire huge section. I also thought I'd show this cool free look feature that lets me look all around my character without having to move my mouse. That was pretty cool. One other cool thing that Lunar Client gets, no, this is not a paid promotion, is you can zoom in. Look at this. Ooh. Yeah, I know. It's pretty exciting. Pretty basic features, but this will definitely come in handy for my mediocre YouTube channel filming in the future. All right, here we go. First big build of one of my viewers. This is Kritzel. Kritzel is the one who basically did all the building. I had a few other viewers join, but no one much. What I really like about this build, he's got like a samurai sword, window shutters. He's got like a whole table and chairs and barrels. Kritzel put so much like detail into the interior of his build. I don't know if he just copied the tutorial for that or if this was just his own design. I'm guessing at least this back corner was his own design because I know he likes to put enchanting tables in places. But this made me realize that I should start kind of beautifying my world. And so I took like a 2-day break from Radiator Springs. I just started adding my own projects. I made this bridge, which is a super simple design, but at the same time, it looks super good. Like I used logs, planks, fences, just a bunch of different blocks to kind of mix them together. I also put, I think, mossy cobblestone towards the bottom of the bridge. I added stairs to make like little arches. Like when you look at this, I feel like a master builder. Unfortunately, however, I just copied the bridge on Google Photos when I looked up Minecraft bridge, the first picture I found. So this actually isn't my design. I'm not very good at making my own designs. So I'm not actually a master builder, but definitely add to the world. And then we also added a whole bunch of paths. I think that was actually a while ago. I think that might have been Alejandro. I can't remember who did it. They added paths all around the island. I didn't originally like the paths. They weren't solid. They were like kind of a mix of, I don't even know what it's called, like half dug grass and half not. But I went back and I fixed all the paths, and this is what it looks like from above. The only problem with this is the little blue speck above the Fletcher dome, and that's my string duplicator device. Luckily, it wouldn't be too hard to fix. I just had to go up above and place some obsidian and some emeralds above the entire thing so that from the map perspective, it looked like it didn't even exist. So now you look at the map and it looks like the dome is just there. And because the string duplicators are so high in the air, you can't even see it. I took a break to play Skyblock for a day. I suck at Skyblock, so I returned to this world. And here's the really sad part. I built like most of Radiator Springs on TikTok Live, but because I was live, I forgot to start my recording. Literally all I have is the courthouse at the beginning of this video, and then me putting the roof of Luigi's Casa della Tires. Like, this is another reason that I couldn't name this video Building Radiator Springs, because like, yes, I have footage of tons and tons of me laying the sky and the sand, but the part where I'm actually building the buildings, I barely have any footage of that at all, which was super sad. One part that I did really like, I've actually gone back and forth of liking this and not liking this, is I kind of made like this half dome. So the sky is flat on top, but then as it gets like to the edges of town, I curved it down. So this is originally how I did it. Then I looked at it, I was like, I don't like that. So I broke like 5 layers. And then I went back, I looked at it again later, I was like, no, actually I do like that. And so this is how I would be doing the rest of the sky. Kritzel also built us a contraption that made it even faster to get concrete. Basically how this works is there's droppers, there's shulker boxes, and there's redstone. Basically it just throws concrete powder into your hand as fast as you're mining it. And so by pressing F3 and T, I could completely automate the entire process of getting concrete. It was super nice. I wasn't originally going to put this part of the video in the video, but then I noticed this Among Us down here. I don't know who put this in, nobody's fessing up to it, which makes me guess that one of my TikTok followers asked to join the server solely that for the purpose of putting that thing somewhere in the server and then never logging on again, which is honestly kind of respectable. And then, oh, here's some interesting footage. I don't know what this stuff is. It's like parts of the trees in the nether. the fastest way to get rid of it is with a hoe. And so I had a bunch of extra iron from the iron farm, so I made a few hoes. And I don't know, I just did not expect it to be a hoe that would make it go faster. Like an axe or shears would have made more sense to be, but nope, it is a hoe. So if you ever need to get rid of that stuff for any reason, now you know the most effective way to do it. And basically the only reason I'm showing all this footage is to show how boring this footage is. Like obviously I'm only showing like 30 seconds of this, so it's a little more exciting. This part actually was way more exciting. I hadn't cleared the bastion that I started clearing since almost the beginning of this Radiator Springs project. And I came across a chest with a netherite scrap in it, which is really funny because I told everyone else online that the bastion had already been looted. Like we just had to get rid of it. Apparently I didn't do a very good job of looting it though, because I mean, not like a netherite scrap is that exciting, but to find one is still kind of funny thinking that all of it was taken out. And the reason I put this part in the video is because putting sand in this corner was a very good time of the video for me, because I was watching Across the Spider-Verse for a second time. Oh, I love that movie. It is so good. Also, did I just say for the second time? It's like my 7th time. And then I had this genius idea. Now, I'm not usually a very big-brained person, but I feel like I was pretty smart with this one. So in 4th grade, I took this little art class, and we had to learn to draw like a road with perspective disappearing onto the horizon. Basically, you just like have two lines that come closer together, and then the buildings on the side of the road get smaller and smaller and closer together as the road goes on. So that's why I did this with this road right here. And so if you look at it like from the top of the courthouse, obviously it doesn't look that bad, to be honest. But then if you look at it from straight on, it looks so much better. Like this road looks super, super long, even though it's not that long. Like I said, not super big brain, but you gotta give me credit at least once in a while. I'm super glad that Kritzel jumped off the game right here. I didn't even notice he jumped off the game. But like 15 seconds later, rather than eating a golden carrot once I was out of the lava, I started eating it once I was in, or when I was in the lava and I wasn't aware. So I ended up dying. I went to shut him up in the chat, just to later realize he wasn't even online. Honestly, I don't even know if I should put this part in the video because he wouldn't have known otherwise. Unless I told him. I honestly can't remember. Later, he told me, let's go do a raid on a village. And I had done plenty of raids before. However, I had never done raids without the help of like at least 10 iron golems. And so I went into this raid very unprepared. I had basically no food. I didn't have a chest plate. That was the biggest problem. I think my sword was at least sharpness 4, maybe sharpness 5, whatever the case. I still died. And so I just asked him to bring my stuff back. And while he brought my stuff back, I went and worked on another part of Radiator Springs. I understand that this is not the most exciting part. I really wish I had more footage of me building the actual buildings. This is just me building the side road that meets at like the blinking yellow light. And then one thing I find really interesting is the fact that in the world of cars, they have crosswalks. And I don't really know why they have crosswalks. You could argue the Pixar theory with like, well, there were people in this world before and the cars took over. And so they still have crosswalks because there were people. I'm okay with that theory. The main problem with that theory, ignore that. That was my stupid idea to put my followers on TikTok and Instagram in the world. And then they started going down on TikTok and Instagram. So before too long, I took them out of the world. Anyways, if the people really were taken over by the cars, then it doesn't make sense that the lines are still being painted over. It makes sense if they were there in the beginning. However, it doesn't really make sense for them to keep painting over those lines if they don't need lines for people to be there. Here's Hudson's base. Hudson was the other guy who came from TikTok, and he played on the server quite a bit, a lot more towards the end of the 1,000 days, which, in case you didn't know by this point, I don't actually know if it's 1,000 days. I'm just guesstimating because of how long it's been. I didn't want to, like I said, I needed a different title of my video other than building Radiator Springs. We already went over all that fun stuff. Kritzel boat bombed Hudson's base. There weren't any boats. Well, there were tons of boats, but it only looked like one boat. And so Hudson ran into it, I guess, and just absolutely exploded. Caused quite a bit of lag. And yeah, like I said, I need to script these videos sometime before I just start talking. Today, this has nothing to do with the game. Today, it's July 3rd, and so, we're like, we should go float the river. And so me, Miguel, my brother, and two of my brother's friends got in his friend's truck, and we drove down like 3 miles away from my house. Also, I'm being smart right here, turning my difficulty to hard to make sure that all of these guys turn into zombie villagers and not just 50% of them. We get to the part where we're going to put in at the river, and there's thunder and lightning, and it was pretty cold. And also, I hadn't eaten anything yet at this point of the day, and it was like 3 o'clock. So I was like, I don't think I'm going. Miguel didn't really want to go either. And so we decided we would just walk home. So we just walked all the way home. And it was only like 3 miles, like I said, but it just felt so long because of how much exercise I don't get as of recently. I don't know what's going on in the video right here. I wasn't really paying attention. I was telling my cool story. Oh, this is where the server is lagging. So I didn't really notice the server lagging. Also, this is the new trial chambers. If you care about Minecraft very much, you probably already know more about it than me. And if you don't care about Minecraft very much, you won't care that much that I don't explain what's going on here. And I can tell you all about the server lag. So Kritzel knows a lot more about Minecraft and like the technical side of things. And so he would message me all the time through in-game chat, and he would just tell me stuff like, the TPS is 15, it's usually at 20, or yada, yada, yada. Just a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't really understand. I get the gist of it. Like, okay, we're experiencing lag. I don't even know what TPS means. Like tacos per second something. Oh, it might be ticks per second. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably isn't. But that would make sense. Anyways, it was going down, and at some points it got super low. And so we went all around our entire base trying to find like what was causing this lag. There are tons of cows underneath one of the houses, and that definitely affected it a little bit, but not enough to like completely take it. And so we were just so confused. Like, as you can see, as I come back in right here, it is super, super laggy. And part of that, yes, it's because I'm playing on an 80,000-year-old laptop that dies the second it gets unplugged. But still, like I can barely make my way through that door, and then I click the crafting table, and it's not until almost probably 3 or 4 seconds later that opens up. Well, this is what we stumbled across. While making some renovations on the villager pit, Kritzel broke a wall, and he texted me, or well, in-game chat, he sent a message, and he was like, "Why are there so many villagers here?" And at first I was just expecting this. The original room holds like 100 villagers, and so that's what I was expecting. And I walk down there and I see like an extra 200 villagers. And then we're like, okay, I think I know why the server is lagging a little bit. And so, I mean, a ton of villagers isn't like a huge problem because they'll spawn more iron golems, which kind of makes the village safer. Except also it kind of doesn't make the village safer, and you'll see why in just a minute. And so, while I was okay with letting some of the villagers out of their breeding pit and putting, like, I put some in this cherry pagoda, and then I was just going to let some others walk freely through the town. I knew that was still way too many, and I didn't want to deal with all the lag that it was causing in the game. So I executed Order 69 and started killing them. And as you can see, this is why the iron golems were now going to be a problem. Because when you have like over 300 villagers in your village, that means you can have up to like 30 iron golems. And fighting anywhere above like 3 or 4 iron golems is already hard. So to think that there's a possibility that we get up to like 30 of them is just insane to think about. Definitely was not something I wanted to be worrying about. And so I did kind of go on a mass killing spree for a little bit in Minecraft. Sorry, YouTube. I went on a mass killing spree in Minecraft, just in case anybody was confused right there. And I checked my stats after Order 69 was executed, and it said that I had killed a total of 277 villagers. Now, that is taking into account everything before this video up to day 400. So at day 400, there's a problem with the world, and so I had to like reset it in a way where I still kept everything, but I went to the world without armor. Like half of the villagers in the world were messed up, and all of my stats were reset. So there is a possibility that between days 400 and 666 that there were a few other villagers that I killed, but for the most part, like I probably killed over 250 villagers just in the span of the last few minutes. And then after I killed all those villagers, I made them a better underground pit. This one I was going to make just right underneath the cherry tree, kind of in the shape that goes around the cherry tree. And I really like the shape of this. Obviously, there are still too many villagers in here, and so I'd have to kill a few more. But overall, this entire place was looking a lot nicer. The original breeding pit, I'm just going to leave there and like make walls so you can't get to it. There's no point filling it in because no one's going to go down there anyways. And yeah, this is what it is. I think Kritzel goes back and adds some white carpet in here later. I honestly don't care about white carpet enough. Like, I don't want to say I don't want it, but I didn't want it, if that makes sense. It's like I don't like the white carpet, but I don't dislike it. I just don't really have an opinion, and so I wasn't going to worry about it. But once he did put the white carpet in here, it actually does fit, especially with the beds being pink and white. And so I think it looks pretty good in the end. And then you'll never guess where I went back to next. That is right, the Nether, where I worked on the sky. This was actually a super exciting spot because I had just finished the second corner of the sky. So I was now wrapping around the other side of the courthouse. This video just gets like tangent after tangent over and over again because I'm trying to finish up a whole bunch of projects. And this one, for example, won't even be finished by the end of the video. But with 3 of us being online somewhat often, occasionally we would run out of villager trades. Like the villagers would run out of being able to trade with us faster than, let's just say they couldn't keep up with how fast we were trading. Dang, I need to script these videos. And so we decided we would add a second layer to the Fletcher dome. And that would just make it so that no matter how many times we trade with them, they would be refreshing their trades faster than we could get to those trades. That was a much better way of saying that. I also learned you can put leads on boats. I wish I would have known this the first time I was building like the main layer of the villager or the Fletcher dome, because it was so much quicker, so much nicer. But that's what you get when you don't really play Minecraft. I try to make Minecraft content, but I barely know how to play the game, seems like. I think a lot of the rest of this video is just kind of me showing that I did indeed do this all in survival. If there is any doubt whatsoever, I mean, I have the videos. They're going to be deleted by the time I post this video. But, like, yes, this was all done in survival. And on the one hand, I feel like that could be kind of hard to believe because this is a huge project. And someone could easily be like, no, you just did that all in creative. By the way, here's Epstein's Island. But for anyone who wants to say that this isn't creative, there's 2 things you have to take into account here. First of all, if I did this in creative, I could have just used command blocks. But if I used structure blocks. And if I use structure blocks to clear large amounts of area in the nether, then it wouldn't show up in my statistics that I had mined that many blocks. And at the end of this video, I will show you just how many blocks I've mined. Oh, also, here's the up house that we're building. I'll kind of wrap up the video while we watch me make the up house. And so in my statistics that I will show at the end of this game, it's very clear that I broke all of these blocks by hand. So yes, I still could have broken those blocks by hand in creative, but as you saw, like I had a haste 2 beacon with a netherite pickaxe. All of those blocks were being broken automatically already. Not automatically, but like I could break those blocks arguably faster in survival than in creative. Now, creative does let me fly, but so does Elytra and fireworks. And so, boom, there's my proof that this is not fake. Also, if it was fake, why did I get lazy and only finish half the town if I could just easily finish the rest of the town? It's because I completely overestimated my abilities to build Radiator Springs in the Nether in a reasonable amount of time to make a video on it. And so, yeah, I obviously could have kept working on Radiator Springs for another month, and I probably will over the next month, add to it every once in a while, extend the sky, clear out more sections. But as I said in my last video, I kind of want to make more content. I don't just want to, I'm not doing this just to play Minecraft. Like part of the fun in all of this is creating the YouTube channel, trying to grow my audience. Most of my videos, I think the last one's sitting at 20 something, maybe 30 something views. But the one before that, I know got like 600. So I know I've got potential. I just got to maybe script the next video. I probably will not script these videos for like another year because it's just so much more fun to put this all together and then just sit in front of a mic and see what I talk about for 45 minutes. Where was I with this? Globos. Okay, I'll commentate the last part of this in Spanish. Este es mi mapa de el isla. Este es el casa de up. Y este es el nether. Y mi pickaxe por la basalt es getting digged. Okay, this is stupid. Let's just jump to the part of the video where I give you a grand tour of everything we've accomplished in the last 1,000 days. Here we are on day 1,000 with Hudson and Kritzel looking at Radiator Springs. Obviously, it's not finished, but it does look really good. It looks like it's constantly snowing in most of the town because of the particle effects from the basalt biome.
But like I said, I'm really proud of how this turned out. Perspective road looks nice. Our mob cap clearly isn't reached still. I don't know how because I've sent hundreds of villagers down here. But overall, super happy. I'll continue to add to it, but for now, I think this is really good. I told you guys that I didn't record lots of me building the city, but I did take quite a few screenshots, so you guys kind of get the gist of what was going on. And then I also said I would show you guys my statistics at the end of the video. Now, I'm not going to go over every single one of these statistics because then we would only be like halfway through the video, maybe. But I will go over some of the more significant ones. Starting with blue concrete, I mined 63,000. This is just me alone. This doesn't include Critzel and Hudson. 177,000 basalt, 30,000 blackstone, and then just over 11,000 blackstone bricks from taking down the bastion. I had 30,000 emeralds. This is as of day 400, by the way. And then I dropped 12,000 pieces of bread. I mined 288,000 pieces of netherrack, and I killed, as I said earlier, 277 villagers. I didn't show this earlier in the video, but Critzel went ahead and made 2 more sand/concrete duplicators, which was super nice. Was it needed? Maybe not. The more significant part of this that he did was he went ahead and made a storage system down below. I can't remember if I showed this earlier, but it looks really good. And over the looks, I guess it's more just functional. That's the biggest part. Got his Enderman farm, was super nice. Me and Hudson went ahead and built some more creeper farm stuff, made it produce faster, and we made it look like a giant chocolate bar, which I really like. Here's our Fletcher Dome. I've already showed this before, but I thought I'd show it again so you guys can kind of see the renovations that are going on in here. They look, I think it's going to look good in the end. Who knows how long it'll be before we actually finish this project, because we don't really need more. We already have a few more, and we only need more when there's all 3 of us online. So hopefully that gets done somewhat soon, but I'm making no promises. If we fly over here, here's the little bridge I built, but then everything past the bridge was Critzel. He built this kind of cool grand opening. Critzel also did some off-camera mining. I don't know how long this took. All I know is that he told me he had, I don't know if it was 23 or 24 blocks of diamonds, but whatever the case, I might have to check into X-ray mods because I don't know. I don't even want to know how long that took him. Here's his custom tree. It looks good, but he never finished it. It's been here like as long as the rest of this. I don't know why he never finished it, but I guess that's all he wants. I already showed this house earlier, so I'll just go ahead and show you the part I didn't show you yet, which is his super smelter. He decorated it with fireplaces on the outside, which I really like. And then, I mean, I really like this build because it's functional. It helps us do something useful, but it also just looks really nice in the entire village. We got our little village houses, our working lighthouse. I already showed most of that earlier. Kritzel also was obsessed with hanging these guys in the tree in the front yard. At first, I didn't really like it, but now I kind of do. It does make it kind of hard to get down here, but honestly, there's no reason we need to regularly get down here. So I think we'll just continue to add to the golems hanging in the cherry tree. And then one thing I don't like, I don't know if this is the lunar clan or why, but I can't really see beacons. So this is what the pink pagoda looks like. It looks really good in my opinion. There is supposed to be a pink beacon beam shooting out of the top. What's really nice about this is because the spire on top is made out of like cauldrons and fences and stuff. They aren't actual blocks or something like that. I don't know. But it allows for the pink beam to shoot up through the spike, even though the beacon is actually lower down. So I put a few pink beds in here for villagers. We have the dragon egg up here. Originally, the stairs went up one more layer, but up there is just the level 4 beacon. I had to put it up there to keep it mostly hidden, and I really like how it looks overall. One other thing I really liked is somebody added this little water patch. I think I might have gone over this earlier. It looks pretty good. One thing I like that Kritzel did was he doesn't have the bamboo going up on like every single block. He has them spread out a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead right here and fix this a little bit. It doesn't add a whole ton, but I think it will look better spreading this out just a little more because, I don't know. Yeah, no, that definitely looks better. So I think I'm going to keep it this way. And then to end the video off, here are the backup up dogs. I took like 2 hours to get these guys. I almost died so many times. I actually did die one time. And it was also that I could put Doug in the up house. I'm looking at the balloons right now. The balloons aren't perfect. Well, actually they are perfect, and that's the problem. They're like a perfect, it's not a sphere, but it's like an elongated sphere. I'm lagging a little bit right here. this just kind of shows you what I have to put up with while I'm playing. But overall, this house looks really good. We got some more lag back going on, but as soon as we can get away from that lag back, we got Doug on his dog bed as well as table, some chairs. The attic isn't super special, but overall, I think this world looks really good. I mean, I've put quite a bit of effort into it. I've got some friends to help me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I mean, you're probably already subscribed if you made it this far. So thanks. Goodbye.